Well, welcome back to Death Before Booze, where we talk about how my daughter throws up on my clothes 10 minutes before we start recording. Mom life.
Oh my
Woo!
God.
How are you today, Jen? What's new?
All right.
Oh, you didn't do
Not
your thing.
much.
Wait, hi, I'm Sam.
I'm Jen.
Hi, Jen. How are you today?
We're good. We're killing it today.
We are just, this has been the week of weeks.
Yes, and you know what? It's Valentine's Day week.
Valentine's Day, get your chocolate at your
It's
CVS.
after Valentine's Day,
Oh my
so it's
God.
all 50% off, and you're like, yes.
Yes.
I
Oh my
love
God.
it.
The
It's
hearts.
my favorite part.
The hearts with the candy. Okay. Did you ever watch Legally Blonde? My favorite. I probably said this last year too. My favorite thing is you take a bite and you put it back until you take a bite of all of them and you really decide which one you want to eat completely, and then
Okay.
you throw out the rest. It's my favorite thing to do.
You know what though? Yes. It's I kind of squish it, and I'm like, but now, if you go underneath the lid, it tells you what
No, that's not
is
fun.
what.
The whole point is that I want to take a little bite. I
Well, no,
no, you're ruining my fun. You take
you're
a
fair.
little
You're
bite.
not sharing, so it's fine.
It's mine. I could lick
fine,
them all
so
and
you're
put them back. And you know what?
That's
Even
true.
if I did have
Yeah,
to
you're
share,
fair.
I'd
That's fair.
probably take a little bite of all of them to know which ones I really like and then lick them for good measure so nobody would eat them. But they'd have a
So
shot at
no
the
one
other
else
one.
would eat them.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, that's fair. I like those. Yeah. But yeah, I'm not really always a Halloween person. Like that's why we do Valloween, because we're like it's Valentine's Day, but also
We need Halloween in our lives.
it's just we needed.
I mean, I really see no major significance of Valentine's Day other than to help the candy companies. Emma doesn't like it either, apparently.
And the Hallmark companies with
Yeah.
with cards.
That's all they want. They want to sell love, and there's a whole fucking channel for that now, Hallmark.
So we decided we wanted to do a Valloween 2.0, and I feel like this is going to be our thing, like because I feel like we can always find something every year that we're like,
There's always some sort of unrequited love that either ends in murders or hauntings. So
or hauntings or something.
there's always one.
So there's always something. That's what I said to Sam. I was like, we could do Halloween every year because there are so many killer couples, and it's great. I could just keep doing that. So.
You know, the list is endless.
So speaking of, this one that I have for you today is definitely something, and it is the Jennifer Pan. I don't know if you've heard of Jennifer Pan. If you have, she's got the Netflix documentary and everything else.
Ooh,
We'll get
okay.
there. Jennifer Pan and Daniel Wong. So couples for life. So here we go.
Okay.
So her mom, Big Ha Pan, and her dad, I think it's Han Pan, were Chinese refugees from Vietnam. Han was born and educated in Vietnam, and he went to Canada in 1979. Bic also came to Canada as a refugee. They met, they got married, they lived in Scarborough. It was wonderful. Okay, and then they had two children. They had Jennifer in 1986, and then they had Felix in 1989. We're not really going to talk about Felix very much, but
Isn't Scarborough where like Ken and Barbie were?
I think so.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's that area.
And
It's
like,
definitely
Is it that
Canada.
time too? No, maybe that was in the 90s.
I don't think so. I
It's been a
think
whole year
Ken
since
and-
we did them.
that is true. I think Ken and Barbie was more 90s, but I'm not quite sure.
Sure.
But so both of them worked at Magna International, which is an auto parts manufacturer. Han was a tool and die maker, which I thought was kind of cool. And Bic made car parts. So kind of a neat, little thing together, like, husband and wife duo. In 2004, the two were able to purchase a home in the Greater Toronto area where they had a larger Asian population. The two parents had very high expectations for their kids, and actually, Han was considered a classic tiger dad, which it's a strict parenting style.
Is it related
so
to
it's
Tiger King?
No. But it is like, I guess that's the terminology. Like a tiger parent is a strict parenting style where they push their children to attain high levels of academic achievements or high status extracurricular activities. And usually this is seen in like Asian parents. So very much. So when they hear like tiger mom, like that's kind of what's going on.
So it's not a cougar.
No.
Okay. I'm making sure everybody knows the distinctions.
It's not.
Okay.
So Jennifer was made to take music theory and harmony classes at the age of 12, and she also did figure skating. Now, there were times when she would get home from practice from figure skating, which is super intense, at like 10. She'd do her homework until about midnight, and then she'd go to bed, and then go to school, do the whole bit. So she had a packed schedule.
This is starting to sound familiar. Mm-hmm. Okay.
So she wanted to become an Olympic figure skater. Unfortunately, when she tore her knee ligament, she was unable to ever compete. So it was unfortunate for her. Also, because of the very high pressure that her parents would put her on, like you have to get the good grades, you have to do all this, she started to cut herself. So she started doing the cutting. She constantly had the thoughts of like, I'm not good enough. She was like ashamed of certain things, and she was really embarrassed if something didn't go right to tell her parents because she didn't want them to be disappointed.
Okay.
But her mom, Bick, would notice if she was a little off, and she'd be like, listen, do your best. Do your best, do whatever you can, whatever. So Mom was kind of just like going along with it because Dad was very like domineering, like you have to be the best. And Mom was like, but Mom wouldn't say these things in front of Dad. It was kind of like a passive, like, the typical gender role. Exactly. So she was more soft than hot, which is good. So her tight schedule was her parents had to pick her up at the end of the school day. They monitored her extracurriculars. They didn't permit her to date. Yeah. She was not able to attend any dances, and they didn't want her to do anything that they felt would distract from her commitments that she already had. So very, very domineering.
Yes.
Yes. She wasn't allowed to attend any parties, and actually, by the time she got into university, she had never been to a party at all, like any type.
I almost feel like that's a detriment to do to your kids, because then when they do go to college and they're not under your thumb like
they're
this,
just going to go
wild.
Hog wild.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
it's going to be bad.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying let them, completely flake out in high school, but, you got to let them experience it a little bit so they know what's up.
And it kind of just sometimes, and I always say this all the time too when we talk about like high school kids, sometimes we forget they're kids. So like they like to color. They need a breather. They've got such a tight schedule that like maybe they can't do homework like immediately when they get home. It's crazy. So Jennifer also had mentioned that like her dad's parents had done this to him before. So this was kind of just generation kind of taking over. So this is why, even if she did really well, he didn't really compliment her. He didn't really show physical affection. So it's, it's not really great. However, we get back to her grades. High school, they were very average. So she really wasn't like a stellar student. But she was able to deceive her parents by forging her report cards.
Fun. Where was that for me?
Because nowadays, like, so you got to watch this with your little one. They have electronic ones. So like you're going to get them and it's going to be like, oh shoot, mom's going to notice. But our time, you were able to be like, oh, we're going to switch the letterings around.
I can make that up into one line. Yeah. So easy.
Right? Exactly.
We had whiteout. Yes, we did. Yeah, you don't have that. No.
I mean, we have whiteout, but there's no way that she's going to be
able to. Put it on the fucking screen. Don't look there. Look over here.
Don't look, Mom.
Don't scroll. It ruins my whiteout spot.
Yep. Oh, my God. Yeah. So she actually failed her calculus class her senior year.
Well, I mean,
as a result,
who actually passes calculus? And all you smart people who pass calculus, don't tell me. Don't tell me.
I passed pre-calc because he felt bad for me. So Like, I don't think.
I had a chem
like,
teacher who put me next to the smartest kid in class just so I could pass, and he was like, "I'm not looking." I said, "Thank you."
That's amazing. I love that.
And then I never took another math class after that if I didn't have to.
You know what? I had to because I had to take statistics in college. But I think also I took business statistics, which I didn't realize. It just fit my schedule. And I really think that woman just passed me because she just was like, man. So she passed me with like a D minus. She's like, this isn't even our major. So like, I would show up, I wouldn't have the work. I'd have the work, but it was completely wrong. Like, she just was like, she's like, all right, I really am convinced. But
totally understand all of that.
It got my, my math requirement. It was just very bad. So my GPA suffered, but whatever.
You graduated. Look where you are now.
You do what you got to do. So
we're making a podcast.
The problem with her failing calculus is that the college she had originally applied to and was going to go to, they rescinded her her application. And they said no because you failed.
Who needs that? If you're not going to be a mathematician or like an engineer, why the fuck do you need that? What if she was just going to be a teacher? Like, not just a teacher, that came off wrong, but you know what I mean? Like,
no, I know no, you're right. Like, why do I need to know calculus? I know.
Like, yeah. Am I going to tell you how many halves of a child I can teach in a 20-minute period before they get to Cincinnati? No.
I think it's because of the fact that they were trying to push her into like a science type of medical field. And I don't think you even need calculus for that. Again, listeners, tell me if I'm wrong, but I don't think you do. But like, I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know.
Not good.
I didn't take calculus, so I really don't know.
No
experience.
So now Jennifer was like, this is going to be bad. So she pretended that she was attending the university. So she pretended that she passed the class. She graduated high school, which she did not graduate high school. She didn't
graduate?
She did not.
Oh, shit.
So she falsified her high school diploma, and then she made her parents think that she was going to college.
Oh,
every day.
Oh, girlfriend.
For 2 years.
Girlfriend,
so, she would go to cafes, she'd teach piano classes, and she'd go to a restaurant and work part-time. But it wasn't just her parents that she lied to.
Wait, I'm so sorry. There's something that's stuck in my brain that you said like a minute ago.
Yep.
2 years?
2 years.
So she faked high school and college for 2 years.
Oh, you're gonna buckle up because she faked a lot more other things.
I'm not even mad. I'm kind of impressed.
I mean, how she did it, it's very interesting. When her friends would ask about her parents, she lied to them too, saying, oh my gosh, my dad is such a pain in the ass. He hired a private investigator to follow me. So amping up this whole, like, dad's crazy. Okay, dad's very domineering, but she made it seem like she's got, like, her friends would be like, oh my gosh, that's terrible. Wow, terrible. How horrible. So now again, the parents continue to believe it. In Canada, there's a different way of the colleges, because colleges I know in the U.S. are like 4 years. There are some colleges that are 2, and hers was a 2-year college. So at the end of the second year, graduation day is here. Da, da, da. So she printed out a fake diploma.
Good for her.
And when her parents asked about the ceremony, she said, well, actually, they only gave me 1 ticket. And I didn't want either one of you to feel bad, so I actually just gave it to one of my friends. Again,
there's no way.
No notes.
They just went, okay, cool.
They went along with this because she was she had the documentation. She had the stuff. She was showing them as she went through the semester these fake report cards. So they were like, okay. So she lied then because once she got to the end and she was doing the graduation, her dad was like, okay, so what's going on next? And she's like, oh, well, actually, I earned a scholarship.
Oh, good for her.
And I accepted an offer to a pharmacology program.
dream big. Just
Do
dream
less.
big. No, fuck it. Like, throw all caution to the wind. Next week, Dad, I'm doing my first knee surgery. I'm the anesthesiologist and the surgeon. And
Oh my God.
it's all on pediatrics. This is going to be phenomenal. I cannot wait. Dream big.
So, all right. So when she also was like, that's a big commute from this particular college to home. So she said, would it be possible that I could stay with a friend a couple days a week to cut down? And they were like, that makes total sense because you're commuting, you're going out, later. Mom was very concerned because of the hours that she'd come home. So yes, you're going to meet up and you're going to hang out with a friend on campus. That's great.
So my new boyfriend, Joe.
Uh-huh.
His name, Joe.
She'd actually been dating her boyfriend, Daniel. Since high school. In secret.
I gotta tell you, strict parents produce the best liars.
It really, I don't think that, we talked about this at some point, one episode, and I was like, I just don't, it was like our graveyard chat, and I'm like, I just don't have it in me to lie, and
Yeah, you suck at
I
lying.
could never pull this off.
No,
I can't
I
pull
love
this
you.
off.
You couldn't.
I'd be like, Sam, I got into pharmacology. I'd be like laughing before it came out. So this is impressive. It's impressive to me because I just am like,
I mean, I guess if you believe it enough, it's not really a lie.
and you know what? I think that's kind of because once they did interviews with her later, they were like, how did you do this? And she's like, I just had to keep creating the story. And it's like, huh. Okay.
That's so sad.
So her boyfriend, Daniel Wong, is mixed Chinese and Filipino descent. He managed Boston Pizza, which is again, it's a pizza company in Canada. They're not in Massachusetts now. And he was an active drug dealer. As you do.
Is just killing it.
So he did get in trouble for this previously. So after this time, he said, I'm going to cool it, which, okay.
Good. Smart.
They started dating in high school.
Uh-huh.
They went on a trip, like a music trip, like a band trip together over, and while she was there, that's when the two of them connected. She had an asthma attack. He was there for her. Oh. Beautiful. It was wonderful.
Oh my God. Hallmark. Beautiful. Here we go.
So,
there's your Valloween right there.
Now he knew how deep the lying was because he was the one helping her print out these fake diplomas and stuff. So,
I wonder if drug dealing is a prerequisite for fraud and forgery.
I don't know,
can't
but
hurt.
I feel
it has to bolster that resume.
I mean, I feel like it should.
It should. Yeah. I'm really good at dealing.
drugs.
I'm excellent at forgery. I'm good at helping people lie.
A lot of the times, I feel like a lot of the times when people do something, they also do something else. So it's like, oh, you need a fake ID? I can do that too. And you're just like, oh, great. One-stop shopping. This is wonderful. This is wonderful.
The Walmart of illegal activity. I love this.
Oh my God. So she also lied to his parents because his parents had never met her parents and were like, hey, when do we get to meet them? You guys have been dating for 7 years. And she's like, oh, they're working and, it's hard to meet up, but everything's great.
Definitely should have said they're dead.
Right?
They're dead.
So
can't help you.
Jennifer took this lie a little bit further because, yes, she's in college, but she also introduced that she is now volunteering at a hospital for sick children. So, but her parents got a little suspicious about this one because
this is the one?
She never came home in a uniform. She didn't have a tag or a badge or anything like that. So they're like, okay, so you're volunteering, but what do you go in your jeans and t-shirts every day? That's not how a hospital works.
Even if I'm a candy striper, what do they give me? A little vest that I walk up and down the halls in? That's right. You leave it there.
they just got kind of weirded out because they were like, she doesn't even have a badge. She has like nothing. So it kind of seems like we're not, I don't know about this one. So
where's her forgery like boyfriend? He fucking dropped the
right?
ball this time.
See, this time he
His
dropped the
fault.
ball because
I'm
there
blaming
was
him.
nothing.
Yeah.
So her mom, one day when Jennifer went to her volunteer place, followed her and saw, okay, she's not going to work. She's kind of just dicking around. They also found out that the friend that she was staying with happens to be her boyfriend. So this was a lot at one time for her to be found out.
Okay. Yeah, I get it.
She also confessed, no, she hadn't enrolled in college.
Well, I mean,
No.
if you broke their heart, you might as well just
No,
fucking
I actually haven't graduated high school yet.
Yeah, that whole
So it just
high
was like,
school thing.
blah.
Ugh.
So, Han, needless to say, was very pissed off, and he was so angry with his daughter that he was ready to throw her out. Mom was like, you know what, we're not going to do that. We're not going to go to that extreme, but let's kind of reel her in because she lied about a lot of shit for many years.
Yeah.
So her parents, of course, forbid her from contacting Daniel. She can't go anywhere other than her piano teaching job and her lessons. And she had basically all the other jobs that she had. They made her quit. So, and focus on, let's get your high school diploma and let's move on.
So she met her boyfriend in high school. Mm-hmm. They'd been dating for 7 years.
Yes.
That math ain't mathin'. How are these parents able to be like, no, you can't do anything? She has to be 20.
Well,
21?
Yes, because she's in university.
Exactly. She's supposed to be in a pharmacology program, which would be after
Yes.
university. So
Yes.
you're in your 20s. Who
Yes,
the fuck
she
are
is in
you?
her
Like,
20s.
I'm sorry, parents. I mean, even sorry, but like, who the fuck are your parents to be like, you need to move home, quit your jobs, do like, no.
I know.
Do what I want at this point.
Because you're right. Like, when you think about it, you're like, wait a minute. 7 years. They met in high school. Now she's in her 20s, and she's being told what she can and can't do, even at home. And, like, listen,
You have to move
I
home.
understand.
No.
I understand, like, you live in your parents' house, and they're like, okay, whatever.
Absolutely.
But if my parents are like, you can't see this person, you can't have contact with them, you can't do this, I'd be like, whoa, 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 whoa.
I already lied to you for 7 straight years. You think I can't
Right.
start a whole new thing? My forgery skills will
okay.
get so much better. Believe you me. YouTube, here I come.
Yeah. So after this whole ordeal, they did confiscate her laptop and her phone for a couple of weeks. Again, this is more like a high school thing, so I agree with your face right now. And they were monitoring her messages. Now, Mom would allow her to look at her phone when Dad wasn't home. So Mom would kind of be like, all right, and kind of feel bad and be the, the soft, like, okay, go check your phone, whatever. Okay.
She's 20-something.
Uh-huh.
Is it her
I
phone?
know.
Do her parents pay for it? Like,
They do.
that's
So which again, it throws the,
a
but
bit of a wrench, yeah.
by 2009, so like probably like a year or two after this, Daniel was like, I can't do this. Like, I like being with you, but I can't do this restriction. So he ended up breaking up with her,
Oh, no.
and he started dating another woman named Christine.
They had a good run.
Because he said, and like, listen to the age. He's like, she's 24. So Jennifer is 24 years old, and she's being told what to do by her parents. And
No.
he's like, I can't do this.
No.
I can't. Which you can't blame him.
No.
Now, Jennifer found out that Daniel was dating somebody else. So she attempted to break the two of them up, and here's... She attempted to say that the girlfriend was harassing her, sending her harassing texts and all that kind of stuff. Then she even included a story about how she was attacked in her home. She was gang raped by a group of men. And then she was sent a bullet in the mail telling her to keep her mouth shut, and said all of this was orchestrated by your girlfriend.
Wow.
Right? Again, say less. Like,
Yeah,
that's
that was
too
a
much.
lot. That's
a lot.
I mean, And even the whole she sent me threatening message. You can't even check your phone regularly. How do you know?
I mean, they eventually her parents gave her back the phone because it was just that 2 week span. But at the same time, you're like, okay,
That's a lot.
like,
That's a big. Talk about go big or go home. Like that's big.
right.
That's not cool.
So, by spring of 2010, Jennifer seemed to be like, I'm kind of getting over this. So, she got the idea to hire somebody from a friend to kill her parents. Okay.
What? Is it
Yeah.
what?
Yeah.
You couldn't just
So,
grow a backbone and be like, "Fuck you, mom and dad, I'm out," and then go no
No.
contact for a year or two until they learn their
No.
lesson, and then come back and be like, "All right, let's
No.
start over."
No. That's not how she did it anyway. So like,
I mean, this is like
that she went to the extreme. It wasn't just
well, I mean, she
okay, I'm
automatically
moving
went
out,
to-
I'm
she
done.
got gang raped by the new
Thank
girlfriend's
you.
friend. So yeah, she does go extreme. She's an
0 to 60.
extremist. Yeah, she's got lots of tchotchkes
So-
in her jail cell right now.
Right.
Yeah.
So her friend that she had been friends with in high school connected her to a guy and said, okay, Jennifer's going to pay him $1,500 to murder her father at his workplace.
Oh my God! What, the fucking clearance guy? We're going to the clearance guy? $1,500 to kill 2 people? Are you serious? First off,
Just dad at his workplace. But I'm assuming like later on she's going to have to put more in the package because
so still $1,500 for one person. What? How much would it be for you to kill somebody? Because I'm going to tell you, it has to be at least $1 million, maybe 2.
it's got to be really high up there. Like I'm not $1,500. Think that's like half a like, you know, like
That's like the Craigslist of fucking. I need a favor. And
Yeah.
who's this friend who knows somebody who's like a murder for hire human? Because this is probably
They're
the human we should have gone
sketchy
to
as
for
hell.
the forgery shit. This is the
Right.
one-stop shop we should have sought out.
sketchy as hell. But this guy said, no, I'm not doing it. So he backed out pretty quick.
Did he get the money?
Whether
first?
no.
Damn.
Now she claims that she did give it to him and he's like, listen, he's like, I had nothing to do with it. She asked me. I said, no, not doing it. Which again, you got it. The pay amounts not matching. So
Yeah, no.
now also around the same time, Daniel and Jennifer started reconnecting. And they started to send some flirtatious text messages. Daniel is still dating this other girl. So
Hey, baby.
it's a little risque.
Remember when you printed me out that diploma from college? Wasn't that such a great night? Remember how we burnt the edges to make it look older? It was so great. I fucking can't.
But then he also was like, oh, I know people who are murderers for hire. So I could help you with your plan. Because, you know.
Okay. So now there's your
So-
one-stop shop. And I bet he does get a discount. God, I hope it's more than $1,500, though.
You know what? He does get a discount. But
You get the family rate.
But they decided it makes more sense to kill both parents because this would give her $500,000 for life insurance, which it's always the life insurance. So,
Did you have to split that with
Daniel-
your brother?
you would think so, and I'm assuming it's a split between, but or maybe that is the split. Like maybe that is the split that
Okay.
she's going to get with him, which okay. Daniel gave her the information for his friends. So she got a burner phone. She connected with, his name was Lenford Crawford, who agreed, sure, I'll do it for 10 grand, which was half of his usual rate because he's like, since you're friends with Daniel, I'll do it for half. 10 grand to me is still not enough, but you know what? We're just,
Yeah. I need a lot more money than that.
yeah, agreed. There was some kind of bullshit in between. Like a few nights before they were going to plan this, Daniel was like, you know, I really care about Christine and, you know, like, I don't know if I want to do this. And Jennifer's like, okay, like do you want to, so we're calling this off then? And he's like, no, I thought you said you wanted to kill your parents with or without me. I have nothing to do with it. I'm just telling you, I really care about her and I don't know if I want to be involved anymore. Basically kind of a slap in Jennifer's face because she still has very deep feelings for Daniel. And now Daniel seems to have these deep feelings for another person. So she's kind of a little,
I mean, in her brain,
a little hurt.
Considering how he broke up with her, it's like your parents are the problem. So now she's
Right,
finally got
exactly.
the gumption to get rid of her parents. And he's like, yeah, that's cool. You need to do that for you. I'm probably not coming back.
Right.
Still.
I don't want to, yeah, I don't know if I want to, but now it ended up being after the two of them went back and forth. Daniel said, I did everything I needed to do. It's all lined up. So he has his hand in here. He lined up everything, scheduled everything. Everything's great. Okay. So now we get to the night of the attack.
Okay.
Which is November 8th, 2010. At about 9:35, one of the hitmen called Jennifer and said, hey, unlock the front door. So she unlocks it, goes back upstairs. By 10:05, David Mevligablem and Eric Carty came to the front door armed. They attacked Bick and Han, her parents, and they demanded money in the house. Han kept saying, I only got $60 in my wallet, so there is no money. I only have $60 in my wallet. I'm not sure what you're doing. Felix wasn't home because Felix was studying at another university, so it was just Jennifer and her parents. So in case everyone's like, what the heck happened to him? They took the couple to the basement because, again, they were just kind of like, where's the money? Where's the money? And then like we don't have it. I don't know what you're talking about. The two of them went into the basement. They covered their heads with blankets, and they shot Han in the shoulder and in the face. Bick was shot in the head 3 times.
Oh, no.
Yeah. The men took $2,000 from Jennifer and left. Now, she claims that she was tied up as well.
Ooh.
But she managed to call 911.
Good for her.
And she was speaking to the dispatcher when her father came up from the basement screaming. So now she's calling the dispatcher and she's like, somebody attacked us. I'm tied. Like, they tied me to the banister. My parents are shot. Meanwhile, Dad is still alive and he is bleeding everywhere.
Bitch, give me my money back.
But he might have seen something that's a little sus for him.
And he remembers he got shot in the face.
Yes, so we're going to get to him because that's crazy. But he stumbles outside the house and the neighbor next door was like, oh my God, so calls 911 also. So then they get everything. Now, Han was still alive. He was airlifted to the hospital. He suffered a shattered neck bone and a bullet grazed his carotid artery. Carotid? Yeah.
Carotid artery.
That one.
Artery.
And they reported they said they weren't able to remove some of the fragments in his face because of that's how bad it was.
Oh.
He actually had to go, they actually induced him into a medical coma in order to take care of all this. So initially, when the cops showed up, Jennifer's hysterical. Oh my God, blah, 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 blah. Okay. It seemed that the family's wealth was the reason they were targeted because, again, they had a pretty good job. They worked, like they made some good money.
Okay.
But things didn't start to add up after a while. So Jennifer was interviewed twice. They brought her in 2 times off the beginning. Okay. And each time her interview is a little
Worse.
Different, odd, weird. It seemed odd that her parents were shot, but Jennifer was left untouched and she was able to dial 911 with her hands were tied behind her back with attached to the banister. And the phone was in her waistband and she was like, oh no, I got it out because I got it. I had it in my waistband, whatever. They had her reenact how she did it. And I'm telling you, I started to watch this documentary. It is, it's quite interesting because they know exactly, like they know, they're like, she can't reenact it because it didn't really happen.
Yeah.
But you watch her try to do it and you're like, okay. And then they're like, okay, you can just sit down. Okay, it's fine. You could just sit down. And I'm like, whew, all right. So she's still trying. So one of the detectives too, who was on the other side of the two-way mirror, was like, she is constantly playing with her hair. She's constantly like grabbing her stomach. So he's like, she's anxious about something, and we're gonna figure out what it is. So, also in the two separate interviews, Jennifer and Daniel, both admitted to getting weird text messages and crank calls. Daniel said over 100 times he was called by random people.
I bet they
that
were
would just
her.
like be like,
being fucking weird. Get away from your girlfriend.
the second interview is when Jennifer said, well, his new girlfriend was harassing her. So the cops are like, why didn't you bring this up in the first interview? Like that you had weird.
So his girlfriend's harassing you, but your parents get killed and you're fine.
Yeah. And you're fine. Like she's left
Cool beans.
nothing.
Good story, bro.
In the meantime, while the cops are still trying to figure out something's not right here, Han wakes up from his coma. And he remembers everything.
Dude.
Which is miraculous in itself.
Shit.
He remembers he saw her before they were put in the basement talking in a friendly manner to the intruders. And that she was not bound during the time that the two of them went down the stairs. So he said to the cops, he's like, use your police tools and find out what she did. Because it's shady.
Cool. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Well, so she was arrested. So.
Okay.
So the interrogating officer, Bill Goetz, used the Reed technique during his interview. I don't know if you've heard of the Reed technique for interviewing.
I don't know.
Basically,
I didn't know they had
what
techniques.
it is
I
it
thought either they asked a lot of mean questions.
they asked
They did, okay, good cop, bad cop.
Good
is a
cop, bad
technique.
cop.
Okay, so I did know a technique. Or they just sat there for, poor minors without their parental consent.
Uh-huh.
And they led them down a path so that they would, kind of admit something they never really did or saw because they just need to pin it on somebody. That's a technique I've seen happen in Tiger King. Look, full circle. Twice today we've talked about that.
Yeah.
So good.
Well, this is where they create a high-pressure environment for the interviewee. They follow by sympathy and offer understanding and help, but only if the confession is forthcoming. Now, he tells her they've got computer software that can analyze untruths in statements and that there were satellites with technology to analyze movements in buildings.
This bitch did not believe that. How the fuck? Yo.
She did.
Hook, line, and sinker.
So she reveals that the plan was to kill her. It was a suicide attempt.
Of course.
Gone wrong.
I hate when that happens.
So, but this kind of, again, her story was unraveling to the point where they're like, I don't even know anymore. And all of a sudden she kind of just like verbal diarrhea about, I lied about my college. I lied about this. So the cops are like, holy shit. Like, so.
Drama.
Yeah. So during the trials, well, all of the hitmen and Daniel were arrested as well. So during the trial, all members involved, the trial lasted 10 months. So it started March 2014. All defendants pleaded not guilty.
Cool.
And to charges of first-degree murder, attempted murder, and conspiracy to commit murder. At the trial, evidence was revealed. They tracked the cell phone movements, text message traffic, including 100 messages between Daniel and Jennifer in the 6 hours prior to the murder.
How many times do you think you and I text each other when we start going? I think it's
not 100 times. No, not 100 times.
Okay.
One text was just before the men entered saying game time. So
that's damning. That's kind of damning.
Evidence showed the atypical nature of the break-in, the robbery, the holes in her story. They kind of showed her obsession with Daniel. She really was very emotionless during her confession and during the attack. A huge red flag was the fact that Jennifer was not assaulted She was not blindfolded. She was not taken to the basement, not shot. She was left as an eyewitness. So why would this make sense?
No, she was
As a
tied with
break-in.
her hands behind her back to the fucking banister. Guys.
Yeah.
She told
And
you
she
her
was able to get her
story.
phone.
It was just in her waistbands.
So she was on the stand for 7 days, and they went back and forth. Now, Hahn testified against her and was like, yeah, this is what happened. So it completely cut any credibility she had. The trial involved 200 exhibits and over 50 witnesses that testified.
Oh my God.
Yes. So December 14th, all of everybody involved was convicted and sentenced to 25 years to life. Hahn and Jennifer's brother Felix requested a restraining order against her to ban her from any communications ever again.
Okay.
And she was banned from ever contacting Daniel. So the whole reason she got into this.
Wow.
Now,
That sucks.
Now, the Court of Appeals in Ontario granted an appeal in May 2023, saying the judge made an error in not giving the jury verdict options for second-degree murder. So he only said this is it's first degree. So he didn't give them the option for second degree. So that's a reason to appeal.
Okay.
It didn't matter because their convictions were upheld. Jennifer is eligible for parole in 2040.
No. Oh my God, that's like 15 years from now.
Well, I think that in Canada, like it's 25, like to life, and it's a matter of like they try to rehabilitate, but also like there's no death penalty. As I don't think there's capital punishment. I want to say, so it's I guess it's a little different. Mm-hmm. Well, that's how. What's her face? Carla freaking.
Oh yeah,
Barbie is she's out.
Yeah.
So. Although Paul is not, so that's wonderful. Again, go back to the Barbie and Ken killings because that was
that's on
that's
Patreon.
something.
Go join Patreon.
It's another Canada one.
Another reason to join Patreon. Ken and Barbie.
Ken and Barbie killers.
Ken and Barbie killers.
Ken and Barbie killers. It happened to be around the time too that everyone was like all the commercials were coming out for the Barbie movie that we were like, hey, you know what we could do?
It was Barbie Day. Like it all just kind of fell together. That was so great.
It fell together. It was great.
Killers. I don't know why that's so fun to say right now. Ken and Barbie killers.
Ken and Barbie killers.
Ken and Barbie killers. Ken and Barbie killers.
So I know that was a long one, but
oh my gosh,
it was.
Shit, that was good.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Yeah. This don't
try to murder your don't try to murder your your parents for someone you love.
We don't usually do what did I learn this quickly in an episode, but yeah, no, I'm gonna go with that one too. Yeah, don't murder people to get back with your boyfriend who's already moved on.
I mean, that's the best part.
Yeah, who's literally telling you I'm still not getting back with you even after this happens.
Even after this happens, we're not getting back together.
We are never, ever, ever getting back together.
Like ever.
Like ever.
Like ever.
He's like, I still love you.
You're like, no. Like ever.
Yeah, okay. All right, so, wow. Okay, I am covering Longfellow's Wayside Inn. And there's lots of lovey-dovey Valentine's Day shit in this one. So hold on to your butt. Hold on to your butt. Actually, there's not. But hold on to your butt anyway because there's a twist
okay.
that makes it Valentine's Day. Okay. So the Longfellow Wayside Inn is located in Sudbury, Massachusetts at 72 Wayside Inn Road in Sudbury, Mass. Cool. It was on one of the first commission roads in the country. So that's the old Boston Post Road. So if you're in New England, Boston Post Road is Route 1. And it basically goes from Maine down all the way down to Key West, Route 1. Mm-hmm. But in most of New England, it's called Post Road, Boston Post Road. Now, there are offshoots of it that make it the old Boston Post Road compared to the current or new Boston Post Road, however you want to think about it. So this is on a part that is the old Boston Post Road. This is the only reason it's called Boston Post Road is because this is originally it started as the road that people went from Boston to New York back and forth on, and they just kind of grew onto it to bring it down, all the way up and all the way down.
That's a fun fact.
I'm full of those. So, it is considered a local historic district as of 1967. It is a Massachusetts historic landmark as of 1970, and it was put on the National Register in 1973. Originally, the land of the inn was originally the land where this inn is built belonged to the Nipmuc tribe, and they were a very docile, very friendly, very, kind of keep to themselves tribe. They would, trade with other tribes, but they were kind of like, leave us alone. We're very happy. We're very nice. Just go away. Unfortunately, like many other indigenous tribes, the population declined rapidly once they made contact with, the white Europeans in the 17th century.
Yeah, sounds about right.
Fucking patriarchy. Mm-hmm. So, according to documents, the Howe Inn was built just after King Philip's War around 1686. And actually, it was just a 2-bedroom residence. It wasn't even an inn yet. The official inn license was issued to David Howe in 1716. And that's when he added on 2 additional rooms to his, 2-bedroom house. And he started... Basically, it's an entertainment license. So you are licensed to entertain humans.
Oh, I see where this is going.
Yeah, fun. Oh, no, not like that. We're not there.
Oh, okay.
So they put an addition on and made 4 bedrooms instead of 2. And there are actually some old documents that show pricing from back in the day. So lodging was 4 pence each, so each person had to pay 4 pence. A good dinner was 20 pence each. A common dinner was 12 pence each. And a best supper and best breakfast were 15 pence each. There was no, written distinction, but I would love to know what the difference between a good dinner and a best supper are.
And a best...
Yeah.
Maybe the meat that they used was different.
And, supper.
Huh.
Supper's earlier than dinner, right?
I mean, I think so.
Now I feel they're interchangeable, but back in the day, I think they had different things.
I think supper was it was more like a late lunch.
Yeah. Okay, cool. I mean, they were an inn, so people were coming and going at all odd hours. So you need to make sure your kitchen was working at all times. And don't worry, they had running water, unlike the old ancient Ram Inn, just so you know. So David Howe dies at 85, and running the inn passed to his son Ezekiel, who did a major refurb, bringing the 4 bedrooms to 8 bedrooms, and then he upgraded the roof. Ezekiel fought in the Revolutionary War, so he kind of had to step away. He was a captain for the Minutemen. And then also, surprisingly, this was a big fact. He purchased 2 slaves to live on the property, a man named Portsmouth in 1773 and an unnamed girl in 1779.
Of course she was unnamed.
Of course she was, yeah. So the last family members to run the Howe's Tavern / Inn, because they upgraded to a tavern as well, were a brother and sister group named Lyman and Jerusha Howe. Jerusha stayed at the house to help her brother run the inn because he had a bit of a drinking problem. And we're going to get back to Jerusha a little bit later. But Jerusha. Isn't that a fun name to say?
Jerusha.
Jerusha. Cannon barbecue. Jerusha. Okay.
It kind of just sounds sinister, but...
Yeah. So the Howe's innkeeping legacy ended with Lyman. And because he never married or produced an heir by the time of his death of 1861, they had to sell off the property. In the, weird time when, we don't really have the name of who owned the thing, poet Henry Wadsworth Longfellow visited the inn. Then it was known as the Red Horse Inn. And in 1862, he was there with his publisher. He was kind of on a pick-me-up trip because his wife had recently died in, a house fire that he was also caught in. And he, couldn't help her, couldn't save her and get her out. So he was very depressed, and his friends and family were like, dude, go take a vacay. Go get this out of your mind. It's not your fault. You need some you time. And while he was at the inn, he was inspired to write. So this is where he came up with his compilation of poems, Tales of the Wayside Inn. And each poem covers a different guest story. So this book was published in 1863. And originally it said that he wanted to name he wanted to title the book Sudbury Tales. But I don't know. Tales of the Wayside Inn kind of sound better.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like the title.
You're welcome, English teacher. So then in 1893, Homer Rogers and S. Herbert Howe, different Howe, took over the inn, and they were the first people outside of the original Howe family to own it. In 1897, the tavern was purchased by Edward R. Lemon, and he bought it because he loved Longfellow's Wayside Inn. Like, he loved the book, was obsessed with the book, and was like, if he's been here, I'm going to own this place, and I'm going to suck all my money into it. We're going to get it up and running. It's going to be beautiful. I'm making all these refurbs. And then he ran out of money.
Yeah, that happens.
Yeah. So his wife came up with the idea of, I'm going to sell this fucking place. So in 1923, Cora Lemon sells the inn to Henry Ford. Yes, that Henry Ford. He saved the property. He also loved Longfellow's works and could finance the rest of the reno and keep the inn operational. He also, that next year, purchased 300 acres surrounding the inn, and he had the idea of starting a historical village. He loved living history. That was his thing. He thought you could learn better with a living history so people can go and visit and doing all these things. So he bought all the acreage, started moving other buildings. He had a one-room schoolhouse on there. He had another building moved onto the property. So, like, you could go there for the day and, like, learn how people lived in the 1700s. Unfortunately, Ford's aims were not fully accomplished at the Wayside, but he did establish a nonprofit institution that still operates the inn and associated museum. There's a watermill. There's that one school, one-room schoolhouse. There's archives. There's a museum on site. All these different things. So the inn was gutted by a fire December 22nd in 1955, but it was later restored again thanks to the Ford Foundation, and it was restored back to how it was when Longfellow stayed there. So there were no more renovations then. They brought it back. They even found some old beams and some old walls and some old pieces from the original house.
That's interesting.
That they rebuilt it around those. The inn reopened June 7th in 1958, and it currently is used as an inn, a museum, and you can still have like meals there, taverns, there's a bar, like, and you can
That's
go.
interesting.
Yeah, I think we should go. I think that'd be kind of fun.
I think that would
like
be
City
fun.
Tavern in Philadelphia, like, you know, where you go there and you're like, oh, all these people.
Yeah.
You know. So notable guests of the inn are the Marquis de Lafayette, and if anybody knows Hamilton, like, you know that he was a big deal in the Revolutionary War. Henry Wadsworth Longfellow, obviously, Henry Ford, President Washington, President Coolidge, Charles Lindbergh, Thomas Edison, and the Rockefellers. Thomas Edison had like big to do with when they were turning it into that living museum. Mm-hmm. He like helped them wire everything electrically.
I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah, no, I mean, he's very problematic as a human, but whatever.
Well, of course, but he knows electricity, so he was like, let me help you with that.
I'm really
like,
mad
all right,
that
fine.
he killed an elephant just to make Tesla look bad. And I know I say that every time I bring him up, but it just pisses me the fuck off.
It's
Don't
messed
do that.
up. And no.
Okay. So now what we all came here for, I mean, it's for the ghost. And I mean, what New England inn is an actual New England inn if it doesn't have ghosts?
If it doesn't have ghosts.
So let's get back to my girlfriend, Jerusha Howe.
Jerusha. I'm sorry.
You sounded like Roz from Monster Inc.
Jerusha.
You didn't file your paperwork last night,
I'm
Jerusha.
always watching.
I'm watching you, Jerusha. Always watching. I fucking So, as a young woman, Jerusha grew up in the inn, and she was known as the Belle of Sudbury. This bitch was hot, apparently. Like, she was hot shit. Everybody wanted her. There's, like, no portraits or anything of her to, like, you know, really let us know that she was hot. But back in the day, damn, she was a fox. She was extremely smart and hospitable and a fantastic cook. Her musical and artistic skills were renowned, and she famously owned the first piano in Sudbury.
Oh.
Yeah, she also loved to play it. Like, when people came, like, show it off and be like, oh, you've never seen a piano? Hold my beer.
That makes sense.
I fucking got you, and I'm going to play you everything I know. There are no real records of Jerusha's love life, but the story goes that although many men wanted to court and marry Jerusha. She wanted nothing to do with them. Okay, she was proud of her English heritage, and she was kind of like, these dudes are bumpkins. Like, I'm so much better than they are because, I can go all the way back to England. Like, all these other people in New fucking England couldn't go back on their English descent, but who the fuck am I? Yeah. So it's thought that, it's also thought, here we go, because, like, her brother died unwed, no heirs, that she also influenced him, like, they're not good enough for us. They're below us. Like, don't get married. Don't date these people. We don't want to mix our lineage with them. Like, they're not part of us. So here's the love story. Apparently, an Englishman comes to the inn, and he stays there for an extended period of time, and they like each other. And I mean, like each other. Like, they're passing notes in class, and they're like, oh my God, like all that shit.
They're passing notes in class.
So this Englishman, who we don't know his name, stole her heart. They become engaged. But the Englishman's like, dude, I got to go back to England. Super quick. I'm going to go back to England, get some things in order.
No.
Help make some extra wedding arrangements for us. All the good. And then I'm going to come back and we're going to get married. We're going to have 100 kids. It's going to be so fucking great. Why do you have to go back to England to, like, help plan the wedding? Like, okay, you might have some business, but I'm sorry. Write a fucking letter. If this is the love of your life, you're not getting on a boat going back to England for, 6 to 12 weeks. Fuck off. But again, who am I? Either way, he gets on the boat. He goes to England. We never hear from him again.
Yeah. No, that's... Yeah.
There is the... I'm sure her and her girlfriends were sitting at the tavern and like, maybe he just drowned at sea. Maybe his mother was dying and he just doesn't have time to write you. And then there's that one friend who's like, maybe he's just not into you.
Maybe he left because he doesn't like you.
Maybe he was over it and didn't want to break up with you because he knew you'd be a fucking mess and a Klingon, so he just left. I bet you he's like, in Boston right now. But it's cool. Fun.
Wow.
The final speculation is maybe he never even existed and this is all bullshit. No matter what the truth of the story is, the fact is Jerusha never married. She lived out her days in the inn helping her brother until she died at the very young age of 45 in 1842. Of course, those who choose to believe that the fiancé did in fact exist continue to say that, Jerusha probably just died of a broken heart, which then would kind of support the one friend who's like, yeah, you'd be a Klingon and that's why you didn't want to, like,
maybe he just
break up with you. But cool.
Yeah.
This theory of there being a fiancé, like an actual person, does hold water, however, because Lyman's best friend was the postmaster, and all of the information about this fiancé came from the postmaster. And that he's also the one who made the connection of her dying of a broken heart. There's also, in her journal, she was meticulous for journaling. Journaled every day, wrote down her thoughts. And there are 2 very short entries in her journal. The first one says, a first introduction. And then a few years later, there's another short entry that reads, rid of that trouble. So people are starting to think the first introduction is when she met him, but didn't really want to commit to anything, so didn't put it all in there. And then rid of that trouble is when she was finally like, fuck it, he's gone. Like, this is it.
Right.
Even though she still died of a broken heart.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So rumors of the Wayside Inn being haunted date back to 1868. Jerusha is believed by many to be spending much of her afterlife in the bedroom she used while she was alive, which is now room 9, and also room 10, which is across the hall, and that was her sewing room.
Oh.
When it comes to Jerusha, many men, mostly the married kind, have reported feeling someone next to them in bed at night, and this is mainly in rooms 9 or 10, but it could also be in any room, and also room 4 seems to have a lot of activity. Now, the next things that I'm going to read are kind of all over the place, because after reading all this and all my research, I think there's more than just Jerusha here. I mean, considering how many people have come through and, the indigenous people who've lived here, and there's more than just her. But People say they feel someone climb into bed with them. They feel someone holding them, cuddling them, touching their face, touching their arms, touching their legs. Someone sitting on the bed and watching them. They see imprints on the bed of someone there. Some have said that they've even felt her breath on their face. That one's not cute even when you love somebody. I'm sorry.
No, it's not.
They have felt someone
It's
kissing
not.
their face. They've heard someone whispering to them. And one guy even said that his wife got up to go to the bathroom in the middle of the night, and then he started feeling someone rubbing his back.
Oh, wow.
Apparently, she's also seen downstairs by the parlor fireplace wearing a blue dress with a high collar.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, you can't show your neck. Like that's just distasteful for the time.
The only thing worse would be showing your ankles.
I know. Like, you can't do that.
Yeah. Okay, this is the list that there could be other spirits there as well. So some guests have reported hearing piano music when there's no one playing the piano. Items flying off the kitchen shelves and then gently landing on the floor. People have said that they've smelt Jerusha's citrus perfume. She wore like an orange blossom perfume. And
Oh, that sounds pretty.
yeah. I mean, that they found out from, again, her journals. Items will move on their own. People will hear voices. People will hear footsteps. Supposedly, there's a phantom cat. You're welcome.
Oh.
Equipment will drain and die. Curtains will open and close. Windows will go up and down by themselves. Doors will lock themselves from the inside. So, like, if you leave your room to, like, go get something really quick and you come back, you can't get back in your room.
Oh.
People have felt a force sweep past them on the stairs or in the hallway, hearing noises in the hall when you are the only guest staying that night, including the sounds of children playing. Yuck. Sorry, baby
What is
girl.
what is it with children playing? That's why. It makes everything so much creepier.
It is. One spirit apparently rearranges coins on people's nightstands. Some
Like in an OCD type of way, or is it just
probably.
like?
I mean, I would go from biggest to smallest if it were me.
Yeah.
And then I would put all the quarters together, and then I would put all the...
Yes.
And they'd all have to be in, like, not only biggest to smallest, but then date order as well. Do you ever wash your money and then, like, put it in order, too? This is way too much. Okay. Some have heard women or children crying. Some have seen water faucets turn on or off by themselves. There have even been claims of being awakened by her touch or seeing her presence at the foot of the bed. And the creepy thing about seeing her at the end of your bed is it could either be for a blink or for up to 30 minutes.
That she's just there and you're there?
And she's just looking at you.
And why would you still stay there?
Well, I mean, what if you're sleeping naked and there's this woman at the end of your bed watching you? You can't exactly get up. She's going to see everything.
I at that point, I'd be like, lady, get the hell out. And I'd just like flip her off at the covers.
We're
and be
good.
like, I'm done.
Back off. Speaking of the blankets, also people have reported having their blankets ripped off them in the middle of the night.
Maybe because she thinks they're sleeping naked. I don't know.
It's like a looky-loo. Oh.
Yeah.
One spirit appears as a green and orange set of lights that slowly flicker throughout the room, kind of like twinkle lights or fireflies. And it'll just move throughout the room until it dissipates. One paranormal investigator said, and I'm just going to read exactly what happened here. He said he was sound asleep, his tape recorder was playing, and he woke up to the sound of a piano playing. It was faint, but not so faint that it didn't wake him up. He couldn't name the tune, so to speak, but he jumped up and he started, exiting the door, started to go down the stairs, and the noise kept getting fainter. When he ran back upstairs again, as he started to approach the room he started in, he could hear it again till he got to the room, and that's where it was the loudest, in his room. And he was excited because he knew he was catching this on tape because he was recording.
Right.
He took the tape and ran it through a software program. He could see the sound and he could hear the sound. He identified the notes, and then through their research of hearing the 5 songs that Jerusha was most known for playing, one of them was the Battle of the Prague, and they went on YouTube and they found it, and that was the song that was playing.
Oh.
Another investigator saw, he was rewinding, he stayed in the room, he was rewinding the tape, and around 3 or 3:30 in the morning, he could see clear as day a black mist thing coming up out of the floor to the right of the bed, kind of arc over the bed that he was in, and then go into the wall behind the bed. And it happened again a few minutes later. So they all ran back to the Wayside Inn to set up more cameras, and they went outside in their cars, and they were sitting there watching, trying to replicate it, and unfortunately it never happened again for them.
Never happened again.
Yep.
Of course. Whew.
So now that we're coming to the end of my segment, what Valentine's Day, Valloween episode of ours would be complete without an evening with our favorite ghost adventures?
Zach Baggins.
So this episode of Ghost Adventures is their Valentine's Day special.
Oh.
And Zach goes to
wonderful.
the Longfellow Inn so he can, and insert eye roll, have a romantic night with Jerusha.
Oh, come on.
Emma's not taking a shit either.
That was so good. That was perfect timing. Ah,
Fucking Zach. This is
perfect timing.
This is also the episode where we see clips of Chelsea Handler and Joel McHale make fun of Zach over his seduction screw-ups over his, 4 or 5 seasons so far. Zach primes the team with that he wants to center an investigation around romance and that hundreds of guys have had intimate encounters with Jerusha. He then says that the investigation is Aaron's Valentine's Day gift, but no gift for Nick because Nick is married. There's also lots of semen jokes and sexual innuendos, and Zach busts his ass on some ice while he's trying to write poetry that he will recite to Jerusha later during their investigation.
Oh my god.
This is like one of my favorite episodes. It starts really stupid, but once they get here, it's fun. So the evidence they find, there are doors slamming, female crying, and tapping on the walls. Zach says he sees a ghostly dress sway near Jerusha's room at the top of the stairs, but it wasn't captured on film. Zach documents a 10-degree temperature drop going back and forth with EMF spikes. Zach feels cold hands on his hands, but also senses a loving presence. Good for Zach.
Of course.
The EVPs they catch, they look strong. Zach's here. Got your things here behind you. Female cry, male voice. What you want? Then there's a female voice, a male voice. Let me just tell you something. Apparently there's an apparition in Jerusha's room using the full spectrum camera. A mist forms. It has a distinct head, torso, and what appears to be a flowing dress. And I'm not going to lie, that was kind of cool.
Huh.
The word database against gentle, lay, tickle, and affair. That's all from Aaron. And then the contact they feel. Aaron feels a loving energy moving up his legs. Zach feels a loving energy lean against his knees. And Zach feels a tap on his leg twice and also felt his belt creak.
Oh.
And here's the final fact that I'm going to leave you with. An odd and unique custom has developed over the years at the Wayside Inn, which is referred to as the Secret Drawer Society. One of the innkeepers started a game with kids where he would hide candy in some of the drawers throughout the inn. So, it's an older inn. They have, random drawers in the walls and all obviously, the furniture, the rooms. And he'd be like, okay, kids, go find the candy. As time went on, adults got in on the game. And now instead of the innkeepers or the staff leaving presents for the guests have started leaving little notes in all of these drawers. But also in rooms 9 and 10, they will put their little notes in cracks, crevices, and drawers all throughout the rooms. And these notes go back decades. I think the earliest one is from 1952. Often guests will spend hours searching the room and reading the secret testimonies of those who have come before. There are approximately 3,700 notes reported in 2021. Unfortunately, only 6% of those notes list ghostly encounters, most of which are just kind of documenting the lack thereof. And I kind of want to know how many there are now.
I know.
Fun,
Wow.
right? So that is
is
Longfellow's Wayside Inn in Sudbury,
Wow.
Massachusetts.
We do need to go.
Happy
That'd be fun
Valentine's
to
Day,
visit that
guys.
place. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ah.
So what did we
Yeah.
learn? I again learned don't kill your parents. Just move out.
Just
Just
move
move
out.
out. I mean, easier said than done. But don't do it.
Uh,
And if you're going to pay somebody to kill somebody, pay a decent amount of money. Otherwise,
10 grand.
10 grand, 2 grand, 1,500, that's not enough for them to really be like,
No.
okay, this is serious. Sorry.
Agreed. There were a lot of fun facts in your story, too.
I tried.
So, yeah.
Awesome.
But
Well,
yeah.
this was so much fun.
That was fun.
I hope you guys have a great Valentine's Day and get all the candy you
Yeah.
want and watch whatever show you want. And if you want to have like a big romantic night, I hope you get it. And if you're like us, I
Yeah.
hope you get to stay home and be warm and read a book with, a glass of wine.
Yeah. That sounds good.
If instead of reading a book, you'd like to hear more from us, make sure you join our Patreon. Subscriptions start at $5 a month. And there's tons of extra stuff over there for you to listen to and make fun of us for. You want some of our merch so you can cuddle up all nice and warm on the couch. Go to our website at deathbeforebooze.com and click on the merch thing. I actually updated our website a little bit, so you'll see some new and different things. The layout's a little
Ooh.
different. Fun. Make sure that you rate, review, subscribe to our podcast on all of the socials and all of the listening streams. Please tell your friends. And also, if you're watching us on YouTube, make sure you're following us and click the bell so you always know when we put out a new episode.
Thing.
Sorry about the lighting on this one today, guys. It took longer to record than I thought we were going to. Other than that, I think I got everything. I mean, feel free to email us. Let
Yeah.
us know what you're thinking. Connect with us on social
Yeah.
media. We'll chat with you. I love talking to people. Oh my
Me
God.
too.
And a paranormal chick started following us on Instagram yesterday. And I am
That's so exciting.
fucking excited because I love them so much. So thank you. That's all I have to say. I hope you have a great Valentine's Day. Love you guys.
All right.
Bye.
Stay spooky, guys. Bye.